At some point or another, we all have to live and work with strong personality types who often steamroll or take advantage of us. It's frustrating, but how can we do it well as INFJs? Stick around for today's show because we're going to explore that question. Unfortunately, a typical INFJ response when we encounter a strong personality type is to avoid them altogether or to save face and keep the peace, even if we don't agree with what they're asking us to do, because we don't want them in our inner world messing things up. So we often just tell them what they want to hear and then get away and go into what we really believe. But this is frustrating and it often leads to bitterness because we aren't living in harmony externally with our internal beliefs and values. So let's take a look at why this happens and then what we can do about it to have better relationships with people who have strong personality types. To begin with, it's really important to understand that people with strong personality types often are good at persuading others and don't mind sometimes pushing others around to get their way. Now, this isn't true of all people with strong personality types, and every personality type has a weakness, but some people have learned to manipulate others and to take advantage of them so that they don't have to take care of their own emotional, psychological, or even physical responsibilities. This is a lack of boundaries. They don't have a good understanding of where their own responsibilities end and where those of others begin. And they've gotten good at shifting their own personal burdens onto others. Take the INFJ then, who from the beginning tends to be not as good with boundaries. Unless we work on this area, it can be a challenge for us for a couple of reasons. First off, we're introverts, so we don't have as much practice in the external world until we decide to work on it for an extended period of time. Also, we have this combination of introverted intuition and extroverted feeling, which makes us very sensitive to other people's needs, even if they don't express them. So, a strong personality type may be good at conveying that, oh, I need some help. And for a little while, we'll be happy to help them. But when it becomes a pattern and a cycle that we can't break free of and the other takes advantage of, it can become very frustrating quickly. So, that, in addition to the fact that we have a hard time determining what's someone else's and what's ours, again, when it comes to emotional, psychological, and physical boundaries. We tend to take on more than is actually ours because it's hard to determine, hey, what's mine and what's not. So on our part, it's a lack of boundaries as well because we think it's wrong to say, no, no, that's yours. You need to take care of yourself and I need to take care of mine. Because as extroverted feelers, we want to make sure everyone else's needs are met. But it's important sometimes for other people to take care of their own needs. Now, when you put the strong personality types together with us, with INFJs, you can get soil for a really bad relationship to form. Someone wanting to manipulate and take advantage of others, and another person who wants to help initially, or maybe just to keep the peace and is willing to succumb to the manipulation. And this can become a vicious cycle. Again, the INFJ will feel bitter and frustrated, but may not break out of it for an extended period of time. And again, it's not helping the strong personality type either because what he or she needs most is to take responsibility for his or her actions and then to respect the boundaries of others because that person's never going to have healthy relationships until he can respect others and not try to shift the responsibilities onto those other people. So that brings us to the final point. What can we do about this? How can we move out of it? And the first suggestion is just to have a better understanding of what boundaries are. I highly recommend Dr. Cloud and Townsend's book, Boundaries, and I'll put a link to that in the description. It helps you understand that boundaries aren't a bad thing. Realizing what your own psychological, emotional, and physical needs are is healthy. And boundaries, in their words, or my paraphrase of their words, are like gates around our yards. They're like fences around our yards. They let the good in and they keep the bad out. So we need to know what our own personal responsibilities are, again, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and then decide where that ends, figure out where that ends. And that way, when we seem to be picking up on others, we'll know what's actually ours and what's theirs. And we'll only be giving what we really want to give so that we're not becoming bitter or frustrated over time. And it'll also help us to do this next thing, which is to tell the other people no or stop. Saying no can be a challenge for us because if we've grown up in the right environment, we can be taught that it's bad to tell other people no, or that it's wrong, or the manipulative person can make us feel like it's wrong to say that, but it isn't. It's very healthy to say no. And if someone doesn't respect your no or your plea for them to stop, then they're not the type of person that you want to spend time with anyway. So the second thing to do is just once you realize your own boundaries, to communicate clearly to that person that you want them to stop, and then to be willing to back it up with a consequence. And an actual consequence would be if you don't start respecting my space and stop trying to manipulate me, then I'm going to remove myself physically from your presence. I'm not going to let you come near me, or I'm going to go away until you can respect my space. And oftentimes that's what's needed to help the person grow and make changes. And if they don't respect you, then you need to move on. And there's a difference here between doing this at the start, because the third suggestion is to confront them. And this is where it's really challenging. And honestly, I'm not very good at this. I'm working on this myself, but we do need to confront and risk conflict because it helps the relationship to grow. You're doing a couple things. Number one, you're helping the other person by bringing to their attention what they need to work on. Some people just aren't aware that other people have boundaries, and you may be opening their eyes to that fact and giving them a chance to grow. So that's really good. Number two, it's going to be good for you to practice being direct with other people and telling them what's happening so that you can grow firm in what you believe and you can be happy with you regardless of what they say about you. Now, it could be really encouraging to have a supportive group of people and to talk to some people who are good at having personal boundaries while you're going through this process, but it's a great thing to help someone else and confront. And then I would say that we often underestimate the value of conflict in relationships. Real relationships, the best relationships, do involve conflict because we care enough about the other people that we're willing to risk our own personal feelings. Now, I'm not saying put yourself in a dangerous situation. And as I'll mention later, if it's a really challenging situation, I would encourage you to talk to a counselor or psychologist or another professional, because I'm neither of those. Most of what I'm sharing today is what I've learned from books, from conversations, and from life experience. But conflict gives you an opportunity to move on, to grow, to heal and fix something, and have a deeper relationship because of it. The relationships that we invest in deeply often are the ones that tend to turn out to be the long-standing ones, the ones that are really valuable. So investing conflict in a relationship means that you're really caring about the relationship and the other person. So those three things: understand boundaries, communicate your no or stop, backing it up with a consequence, and then risking that conflict while you're doing so, because it can be good for both of you. Again, if you're in a very difficult situation, definitely an emotionally or physically or even verbally abusive one, it would be good to talk to a professional, because I'm certainly not that. But I've found these steps to be helpful. And the more we do these things, the stronger we can grow and better developed we'll be as INFJs. If you'd like to learn more about your INFJ personality, then I'd love to give you an absolutely free copy of my book, The INFJ Personality Guide. I wrote the book to help you understand the mindsets and motivations that drive you as an INFJ, as well as some common challenges and the solutions to those challenges. Ultimately, I want you to know that you're not messed up or broken, but just different, and that you have great gifts to offer the world that the world needs. You can get a copy of this book one of two ways. First, you can text the letters INFJ to the number 444-999, or you can visit ispeakpeople.com/INFJ-personality-guide. And I'll put that link in the description below this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it served you. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I'd encourage you to do that. I'm sharing new insights and advice and research with INFJs each and every week, and I'd love for you to be a part of the community. If you already are, thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.